Okay, so now you had a job. Keyword is had. You got fired, and you believe that you were wrongfully terminated because you were a woman, because you were black, because you were Asian, whatever it might be. You believe that you were a member of a protected class. So what does that now mean? What that now means is that, one, you have to prove it, and the first thing you have to do is file your claim with the EEOC, do whatever else is required in your state, and at the same time, get you a good lawyer, a good employment law lawyer, because there's many things that you're going to need to do. There's deadlines, all those different things, and the case may not be as slam dunk as you think. The amount of times that I've talked to people and they've like, oh, I've got a great case. That they can't beat me on this. They can't win this. And it couldn't be farther from the truth. And even if you have a case that you should be able to win easily, it doesn't mean you're going to get an awful lot of money. Because the first thing is that you have to mitigate your damages. What does that mean? That means that you have to go out and try to find a job. Not just a regular job, a good job, a similar job. Now, and if you do, let's just say you find a job a couple weeks later, what damages do you have? The damages you have are those couple of weeks without a job. How difficult do you believe it's going to be to find a lawyer who's going to want to take that case on a contingency basis? Real difficult, because there's not enough money in it for them. Now, on the chance that you are unable to get a job, right? You can't get a job, and you're trying, here's another issue you have. It's called the after acquired evidence doctrine, or the doctrine of after acquired evidence. What does that mean? That means that your job, once you try to file something against them, your job is going to investigate you to see if they can find some reason why they could have fired your ass while you were working there. So let's just say if the very next day they talk to one of your fellow employees and that fellow employee says, yeah, they smoke marijuana all the time. And if smoking marijuana is against your rules and that's something that they can terminate you for, what does that mean? All right? They found out the very next day that you were smoking marijuana. The way that the doctrine of after acquired evidence goes is that once your job finds out a reason that they could have terminated you on the spot for, that limits your recovery to monies from the date of the wrongful termination until the date that they found out evidence that would allow them to fire you. So, because they found it the next day, you don't actually have any damages. So let's say they find out 6 months later that they could have fired you because you lied on your resume and you're not qualified for the job. Couple things with that, all right? So that means that generally, based upon the doctrine of after acquired evidence, if it's, say, just a wrongful termination and it's not anything like the American with Disabilities Act, then yeah, you'd be limited to 6 months worth of recovery. However, if you had a disability and you were going based upon them firing you for your disability and you had lied on your application and said you had a college degree or something of the sort, and the job required a college degree, because the ADA has within it this clause that says you have to be a qualified individual. If you are not a qualified individual, meaning that you weren't qualified for that job, is a total bar. You have to talk to your lawyer about it, and they would give you the bad news. However, as I always state, get a lawyer in your area so that you can actually have a chance on winning. Now, you never want to go at an employment law issue against your employer unless you have to. You definitely don't want to do it by yourself. You'll talk to lawyers and they'll tell you, hey, one of the things that you should do is recognize that once you actually go down the road of dealing with your employer in a way that you might sue them or something to the effect. Your job, in a lot of instances, is for the most part done, because some of them will basically mess with you until you finally quit. They'll make you so uncomfortable that you just don't want to stay there. Or they'll give you jobs that makes it so that, yeah, you really don't want to stay there. Yeah, that's that uncomfortableness. Saying things to you, doing things to you, being extremely petty, and you have to cross your T's, dot your I's, and you have to make sure you don't do anything wrong because they got people waiting to tell on you. They got people waiting you to mess up so that they can tell, and then you end up being terminated. And they're going to document everything. Every little thing they're going to document so that they can finally get you. However, when it comes to the doctrine of after acquired evidence, that's definitely something that you don't want to play with, and it's something that has surprised an awful lot of people who thought they had a good case and couldn't figure out why none of these lawyers wanted to take their case, or why their lawyer ended up stating, hey, I'm sorry, but I can't go any further on this case because they could have fired you for this, and you're wondering why, and they tried to explain it to you, but you didn't get it. Now you understand what that's about.